awesome to be able to talk to you for this film. And I've got to start off by admitting I've had one song just stuck in my head since watching this film, and that's "Can I Get a Chee Who?" So how was it for you to approach a song like that and to get it to rival, You're Welcome, another one that's, stuck in your head?
Yeah, it's great that you chose that one. It's my favorite song. I think it was stuck in our heads for longer than you have had it stuck in your heads. But it's it was so much fun. Like you said, we wanted to really sort of do a calling card to You're Welcome and really push it forward. And from a story perspective, having Maui actually sort of pump up Moana was really the impetus for the song, and just to go as crazy and kind of ridiculous as we could possibly go with that, while he's still Maui, he's still doing it in the very Maui way, but he's, in a sense, it shows his growth.
Yeah, no, it gets right to the heart of the story, the relationship between, Maui and Moana, and
Yeah.
the reversal from the first film where he's doing all this to help her and to pump her up, like Jason said. I love it too.
Yeah, and I think it's really resonated with people because I know every time now The Rock comes back to WWE, people are chanting "Chee Hoo" at him in the audience. I don't think every time he takes the pause, so it's really made an impact, like You're Welcome did as well, I think.
Yeah, that was honestly the goal for that, is to have it be something like that that's so in his wheelhouse and sort of, can live beyond the screen, beyond the film itself. So I'm so happy that it actually has done that.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to the entire, artistic team, animation team, but the music team,
Absolutely.
like Emily and Abigail were absolutely incredible. And then like layering like the sounds of like Opataya beneath and like
Yeah.
like it's absolutely a collaboration that completely came together.
Awesome. And one of my favorite new additions to this film was Moana's little sister, Samir, So adorable. Animation on that character, I think, was just great with her facial expressions. But did the inspiration from to bring her into this story and to explore that bond she has with her bigger sister?
Yeah.
No, I'll try not to get emotional. When we work on these films, we put ourselves into them oftentimes. My on my Samoan side, my ancestor is named Simeafua, and my eldest daughter is also named Simea. And
Ah,
she's 21 years old right now. And we had a little surprise in our family, Quentin, and he's 7 years old. And we started crafting the story in COVID, in
Yeah.
lockdown. And I would talk to Jason about the relationship between my daughter and my son, and they did everything together. They were inseparable. He kind of was an older child because he was around, bigger kids and grew up with like COVID. And suddenly, Samaya had to go off to college. And it was the most heart-wrenching moment when he had to say goodbye to her. But it also showed this maturity that they both had to face kind of early in life. And we wanted to make leaving Motunui hard this time for Moana,
Yeah.
and to give her more purpose than she even had before in succeeding. And so Simea really delivered on so many of those things. But yeah, no, it came from real life.
that's fantastic. And of course, Moana, she's not a Disney princess, but she is a Disney demigoddess now, great moment in the film. Where did the inspiration to head down that route come from? Because what a huge development for the character after what we obviously saw in the first film and then through the duration of the second one too.
Yeah, it's a great question. As we were developing the story, we really wanted to show that Moana still had a lot to grow, a lot to change. And it really sort of puts an explanation point on that idea when she has always been a person who's out there for people, doing things for the right reason. And it sort of naturally led to that idea that she would actually, in the action she takes and everything she does, that she proves herself to be more than just who she thought she was at the beginning. And being having that demigod status at the end of the film,
Mhm.
it says a lot about it, and it really was something that we crafted towards and really wanted to hold back when we were originally releasing the film. But it's such a powerful moment in the film, and like I said, it just speaks to who she is as a character.
Now we love that we get to like fully
I
talk
know.
about it now
Yeah.
because initially we could talk about the thematic that we love of we never stop choosing or discovering who we are in
Yeah.
life. But then we could never talk about like fully what Moana does
Yeah.
discover. And I love that it's beyond anything she ever imagined,
Hmm.
in her growth and evolution of self.
Yeah, it's such a cool moment for the character, and one I know a lot of people want to see explored in a Moana 3. And of course, we get a very intriguing mid-credits scene with a big return. So, was that
Yeah.
something you wanted to build to the whole time, or was that like a later addition to the film? Because what a great character to bring back with Tamatoa.
We were always playing around with
Yeah.
different versions of that,
Yeah,
actually,
we
right?
were,
Yeah.
yeah. And like there's an untapped potential to the idea of her being a demigod, obviously. And we love that as an idea, and what that means, we haven't quite got there yet, but I think it's actually it felt right for her character, and I think that the mid-credit scene sort of speaks to the fact that there's more to this story.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see that. And when it came to obviously the two of you collaborating with Dana, to make this film, what was it like sharing the workload? And then, of course, when you got the news that Disney wanted this to become a movie, which I think we can all agree was a great decision, how difficult was that to then transition into getting this into a feature and obviously getting into theaters in time for Thanksgiving last year?
Making anything is difficult, and making something as great as Moana 2 was no easy feat. And so as directors, we all leaned on each other. We
Yeah,
leaned on, our own expertise. And there were many times when we would have to divide and conquer. We had over, I think, 550 people who, contributed to this film. And so it was a lot for any one person, too much, I think, with the timeline. And
yeah.
so gladly we worked and collaborated together.
Yeah, and I think, as we create the story together, like our story room is sort of our home base, and really all the answers for all the questions that would come up, and we're working with any one of the departments here, from recording actors to music to lighting, animation. All those answers are actually in the story, and so that was our home base, that we all understood what the moments were and what the purpose of each scene was, and what Moana was feeling, or what Maui was feeling, or the crew. And so all those things was our home base for us to sort of get out into the other departments and all. Ultimately, that's what kept the story together. It was really difficult, like Dave was saying, to make a film. Obviously, it started as a series, but it always felt like we were telling a single story
Mhm.
anyway. So what we had to do was just a matter of really refocusing it back through Moana's point of view, and it actually always, in hindsight,
Mhm.
wanted to be up on the big screen. We were telling a big story with incredible visuals, and the world is so huge. I can't imagine any other way now, and it's
Yeah.
been like that for a while. Like, we all like working towards that. So we were happy that the studio agreed with us and wanting to make the same thing we did. So it was super exciting, and obviously we agree it was the right choice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess one of the only disadvantages of going from TV to movie, did you have to lose a lot of footage or a lot of story arcs you wanted to include, or were you quite happy with the way you boiled it down to obviously the great
Oh,
movie we ended up seeing?
I think our movie, is about evolution of self, that we are always growing and changing. And so for us, like, we actually lived that, the process of making this, starting out
It's
as
true.
one thing, becoming something else. But like Jason said, the story like tells you what it wants to be, and it
Yeah.
did want to be on the big screen. But what we did learn when it was episodic is we got to really hone in on all these new characters and understand how Loto works, how Kele
Yeah,
works, how Moni works.
it's true.
And then, when you supercharge that into a feature, everything has to serve Moana's story. And so, in a way, it was a great just working session understanding these new characters.
Great. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think one of my favorite things about talking of the characters was to see the Kakamora come back. And obviously we get to see a very, I guess, a heroic side of at least one of them, which I thought was really
Yeah.
cool after the first movie. So was
Yeah,
that
no,
something fun to play
Jason
with?
gets a lot of credit for that. Very early on, we had like certain like visual tent poles
Yeah.
that each of us wanted. And I was like, I want a giant whale shark. And you just kept drawing
Yeah.
a heroic Kakamora that
Yeah.
comes on the journey.
And
Yeah.
there's so what one of the goals, and obviously we're making a sequel, so you do want to sort of have fan favorite kind of stuff. When I'll say I count myself as a fan favorite of those characters, but show them in a different light. Like what you're saying, you get to see a heroic side to them. You get to understand that there's more to their story, and that
Yeah.
sort of goes along with the whole theme of the entire film, which is learning more about yourself, also learning more about the people around you is really important, and community is a huge theme as well. So having a Kakamora come on board, it brings a lot of fun, and I love the character of Kotu so much, and we just had a blast creating those scenes.
For sure. And just one final quick question for you both. I've got to ask, I know I mentioned it before, Moana 3. Has there been any chatter about that? Obviously, this movie's been a huge hit. Congratulations. But do you think we're going to come back for a threequel?
I love how our
Yeah.
movie has been embraced around the world. We are so grateful for the
Yes.
enthusiasm. And I love that people want more. We can't say anything, as of yet,
Yeah.
but we're glad people want it.
Yeah, it's so exciting that there's a desire to find out more about what's going on. I love that. And obviously we love these characters in this world so much. We had such an incredible time making it, and to have audiences embrace the film. It's kind of unbelievable, to be honest. It sort of started when our trailer came out and we saw and the thirst for these characters. And it was so great that we love the things we love so much, the audiences were feeling the same about. So we'll see what the future brings.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, David, Jason, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations again to you both and Dana for making this movie, because I thought it came out great. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Pleasure.